Hello, so today we are going to do our painting studio skill builders using Tempera paint. Our learning objective is to use Tempera paint to create tints and shades. So we're going to do that with the color red and mix white with red to make tints and red with black to make shades. And then we're going to identify the arrangement of colors on the color wheel. So we're going to have red, yellow, and blue on our paint tray, and we're going to mix orange, violet, and green. So you have a water basin, you have a stack of paper towels. This is to dry your paintbrush off between colors. When we're using liquid tempera, we want our paintbrush dry as much as possible. You are going to need red to mix with white, to mix with black, to mix with yellow, and to mix with blue. So you don't want to use all of your red to make your tints, all of your red to make your tints and shades. You still need some left over. So what I recommend is taking some red and moving it while your paintbrush is clean. So I'm moving some red by white because I'm going to be making some tints. I'm going to move some red by black because I'm going to be making some shades. And I'm going to put some red by blue because I'm going to mix red and blue together to make violet. And I'm going to I've got red by yellow close enough to mix with yellow to make some orange. All right. So now that I have moved my red and made sure I had 4 different spaces with red, now I'm going to start with some tints. Maybe since I have plain red on my paintbrush, I'll just go ahead and paint the square with red. Neatness matters when you're painting, so try to stay within the space as much as possible. And I'm going to use red to paint in the color wheel down here too. All right, so I'm going to start to mix my shades. If I choose to put the red and the white, then I probably will work this way because I'll have just plain white, lots of white, and a little bit of red, a little bit more red, a little bit more red. Or I could go backwards. It doesn't matter to me which way you go, but you're going from light to dark, and then you're going from light to dark. So you're moving from left to right, like you're reading, going from the lightest all the way to the darkest. So you're going to decide which way you want to work. I'm going to go ahead and rinse my paintbrush off. I use the teeth at the bottom of the water basin to get the paint off my paintbrush. If I have paint on the gold part of my paintbrush, I put it back here behind the teeth and swish it around, and that usually comes off the gold. And then I'm going to dry my paintbrush off. So I'm going to pull my paintbrush across the paper towel. Please don't fold the paper towel over, push down, and pull your paintbrush because you're going to loosen the bristles. Just pull it across the paper towel until no water's coming out of it and it's dry. Dry enough. All right, so I'm going to take some plain white. Now, if you don't want to do this, you could just leave the box plain and empty, but I'm going to go ahead and just paint that white. So now I'm going to add a little bit of red to the white to paint to go a little bit darker. And this is a lot of white, so I probably just use half of it and mix it over here on one half. So as I mix it around, I try not to get any on the gold. And so for the next square, this is my lightest tint because it has the most white. Now I'll take some more red, mix it, the color I just painted. Okay, and then I'm going to paint this in the next square. Now, if I were to paint this and this looked close to the same as this one, I would need to add more red, but that's different. You can clearly see the change, so I'm going to paint that. See how my paintbrush is starting to get really fat because it's sucking up all the paint. So I need to be careful when I'm painting and try to just use the tip of my paintbrush to keep it as neat as possible. And now I just have one more tint to make, so I'm going to try to scoop up all this red here and mix it with that last color that I just painted. And that definitely looks different than the last one, so I can go ahead and paint this in this box. Okay, now I never take a messy paintbrush and go to mix shades for this side, because then that'll make the color look grayish, because white and black mixed together make gray. And that is not what we want at all. So I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off. I don't have any paint on the gold, so I'm going to dry my paintbrush off. If you pull your paintbrush across the paper towel and you get color out of it, then you need to re-rinse it. Now I'm going towards the black, so I'll first dip my paintbrush in the black and just use plain black to paint in this square. And if I mix the red with the black, then I would start here and work my way towards red. If I mix the black and the red, then I start here and work towards, because I'm adding a little bit of black to red, so that's a lighter shade because we're going light to dark. If I were to mix red and the black, that would be a dark shade, so then you would be moving from dark over to light. So I'm going to take some black, mix it with the red. I'm not mixing it with the tint over here. That would be a mistake. Plain red. So this should make it just a little bit darker. And my paintbrush is really thick, so I'm going to try to keep it up on its tiptoes, barely press down with it so that I can stay within this box as neat as possible. Okay, now I want to get a little bit darker, so I'm going to scoop up some more black, mix it around with the color that I just made. Okay, that looks a little bit close, so I'm going to add a little bit more black. Okay, that looks a little bit different, so I'm going to go ahead and paint this. And now I'm going to scoop up black and mix it with this color to make it darker than the last. All right, tints and shades completed. I need to rinse my paintbrush off. Use the teeth at the bottom of the water basin. I have some paint on the gold and some paint up here on the handle. So I put my paintbrush back here and swish around to get the paint off the gold. Okay, dry my paintbrush off. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and color yellow and blue as is first, just so if I make some sort of mistake, I at least get these two colors on there. All right, so the color wheel shows the arrangement of the color spectrum. It also shows you how to make colors. So orange is located between red and yellow because when you mix red and yellow together, you get orange. Green is located between blue and yellow because when you mix blue and yellow together, you make green. And then finally, violet is located between red and blue. You get violet when you mix red and blue together. So I'm going to go ahead and start with orange. I need to mix red and yellow together. If I take all of this yellow and mix it with this red, I don't have any yellow to mix to make green. So I'm just going to take some of this yellow, move it over on the red, or actually I think I'll move it over here and save this red for the blue. So I'm going to take some of this yellow and move it over to the red to make orange. And I don't want to mess up the yellow because I need it for blue and green to mix together. All right, that's still too red. That's not yellow enough. So I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off. Dry my paintbrush off so that I don't mess up the yellow. Add some more yellow. And maybe I won't use all the red. I'll just use this red over here to make orange, so I don't need all that red. Okay, I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off. All right, so now I want to mix yellow with green. Oh, sorry, I'm going to mix yellow with blue to make green. So I'm going to take some of this blue and mix it with yellow because I'm done with the yellow after this. I don't need yellow to make violet. So I'm going to take some of the blue, put it over here in the yellow, mix it around. When you're mixing a light and a dark color together, yellow's light, blue is dark, you only need a little bit of the dark color and it will really make a change with the light color. So now I'll paint this green. Okay. All right, and then finally I'm gonna mix red and blue together. So I'm gonna take some of this blue and mix it with the red right here. To make violet. All right, and that's how you complete your tempera paint skill builder.